Hey, this is Matt once again. What about another videos? Another paid request. This time for Jonathan. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, whatever it may be, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal, which is usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for the experiment from 2010, which I just had seen this cover a long time ago, but didn't really know what it was. It stars Adrien Brody, you have Forrest Whitaker, you have Clifton Collins Jr., which I've seen in quite a few films. And it's based loosely on the Philip Zimbardo Stanford prison experiment in 1971, which, for understand, didn't happen like this movie did, but it was still psychological test on having people in this prison. Some played guards, some played prisoners, and how after a while that did affect people. One has a sense of power and one has a sense of rebellion. I guess there was a film that was foreign that was made at first, and then this is, I don't know if you want to call it a remake of that or just doing their own interpretation of it. But in this one, Adrien Brody, he's laid off as an anti-war protester. He meets this woman, falls in love, and gets this chance to do this test for 2 weeks, simulate a stay at prison, and you get, what was it, $14,000, like quite a bit of money. And Fisher Stevens from Short Circuit and many others, he plays the doctor. He's going through the people going, have you ever been in prison? Blah, 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 blah. So Forrest Whitaker is this very quiet guy that you find out a little bit of him, that he maybe has a domineering mother. Adrien Brody tells about how he would never hurt someone. So you know where this is going when he says he never hurt someone. Eye for an eye, he doesn't believe. You know where it's going. So I wouldn't say it's the most unpredictable movie. At one point, they do show him footage, and it was hard for him to take. It was hard for me to take, too, because it looked like real death footage, and I don't... It was meant to get into Adrien Brody's state of mind, like his reaction, our reaction. I can understand that, but I'd rather you just simulate all that then. It may be tougher to do, but just film all that to simulate it, and then make it appear real to us and Adrien Brody, not use real footage. I think that's a bit of a cheap shot, so I didn't really care for that. But 26 men are chosen to participate in the roles of guards and prisoners in a psychological study that ultimately spirals out of control. And overall, I didn't mind it. It went at a very fast pace. Some may say a bit too fast paced. Adrien Brody is one of the prisoners, along with Clifton Collins Jr. You have this nerdy guy named Benji. And then the guards, you have a couple guards, like 5 or 6 or so guards. One's a guy, Gigandet. I think he's the guy in Violent Night that was trying to be the wannabe action star guy. I think that was him. He plays a guy that, during the interview, is always talking about women and getting laid, and Forrest Whitaker, he's a guy in his shell, and because he gets this power, he becomes more out of his shell and loses it. And the whole gist is that if a prisoner breaks the rules, they have 30 minutes to rectify it. Otherwise, if a red light goes off, then they all forfeit the money. So it's a thing of, people want to get paid. But at the same time, I did like the film because I like the performances. I know some people don't like the performances of Adrien Brody and Forrest Whitaker. I liked them. I say it went at a fast enough pace that it was never boring. The whole idea of the prison the experiment does fascinate me, and what it says about the human condition. It does play, again, Lord of the Flies type of typical stuff you would... It definitely plays like Lord of the Flies, except in a prison. And that was kids, this is more adult, so, differences, of course. At times it felt like things escalated a bit too quickly, though. So that's what I mean. The fast pace was a good thing, but it was a bad thing. It was a good thing because it was never boring to me. It was a bad thing because I felt like, damn, like this really escalated quickly. I mean, yeah, it starts off small. Like for example, the prisoners are playing basketball. One accidentally throws a basketball at a guard's face. As like, well, we need to rectify it, so you guys do push-ups. At the same time, though, you're thinking, okay, well, obviously they want the guards to be guards and tell us what to do. Fine, just do it. In 2 weeks, you get 14,000 or whatever hell money it was. Okay. And it's one of those things that think of it as like a weird game show, or another point where you're supposed to eat all the food and Adrien Brody's ready to dump it. No, 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 man, you gotta finish all the food. Oh, come on, man, this stuff tastes like dog shit. Yeah, but you have to finish it. And it's like, do people not realize that? I mean, it's a test, but you look at it as a game show. Okay, fine, just eat it all. You're doing it for, at this point, maybe 13, 12 more days. This is like part of the challenge. This is what we're listening to. This is like it. There's so many ways that it could be de-escalated. Listen, man, I know I understand that food tastes bad, but you gotta eat it all. That's part of the rules. Otherwise, we all lose the money. Listen, guys, I know it sucks, but you gotta eat it all. That's the whole point. That's one of the rules we're given. Because they're literally told the rules early on. Fisher Stevens like repeats it over and over again. So that's what I mean. It just seems like it escalates. Like if it was, I think things should be fine for like the first 4 or 5 days. But this is like it's fine for like the first 4 or 5 minutes. Like by the end of the first day, things are going. I think like the first or second day, things are going on. They should have been like the first 5, 6, 7 days, or first 5 days. Things are going pretty fine, pretty peacefully. And then one thing leads to two, two leads to three, three leads to four. Listen, I've been eating this for 5 days, but can you just make an exception here? And because of time, then of isolation and other stuff, then it makes people lose it. Or maybe instead of 2 weeks, it should have been like 2 months, an extended period of time, where because of the routine, like you're fine for it for a little bit, but the routine of it is what gets you, and you get tired of it. And like I said, it ratchets up to 11. I thought a bit too quickly. That it loses a bit of its impact. That's just me. But I do like the cast. I thought the place they had in the prison was a decent setting for it. I do like the idea behind the film, again, being based on the experiment. You do feel bad for Adrien Brody's character. And Adrien Brody, I mean, I gave him crap for the film like Predators, because I don't think he fits that role. But this, he's a better fit. He does a good job. And in the more into spoilers, the stuff he goes through where he gets humiliated and handcuffed to a cell, the bars of the cell, or Adrien Brody trying to talk to Forrest Whitaker like, come on, hit me. Because you can't. Because if you do, the experiment's over. And the way they go back and forth. Like I said, I don't think Forrest Whitaker, Adrien Brody did a bad acting job like a lot of the IMDb users said. He gets kidnapped. He gets his head forcibly shaved. He just his head dumped in the toilet. You definitely feel sorry for Adrien Brody's character. One guard, Bosch, is thinking, well, this is a bit ridiculous. This is over the top. What are we doing here? But he is beaten and pushed into the prisoners. And that's what I mean. This movie needed a bit more room to breathe. Because once he's put into with the prisoners, there's not really much of him interacting with the prisoners. Like, do some of them think badly of this guy because he used to be one of the guards, he didn't do anything sooner? Or it should have been like some tension with that, as well as him talking more with Adrien Brody and, listen, I'm sorry, man. Hey, it's okay. We'll work together. What do you know about these guys since you hung around with them more often than we did? Tell us some info you have on them. Did anything you could find out personally we could use against them? Really, none of that comes into play. None of that comes into fruition. So that's mean they need a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, a little bit more into the meal, so to be, a little bit more spices into the meal. It's a bit too slim of a meal. Now again, it definitely makes you hate Forrest Whitaker's character. I thought he did a good job showcasing how crazy he was starting to get. That he just get more into spoilers, so be warned, spoilers. I like that some of the guards are more and more saying and showcasing how crazy Forrest Whitaker's getting. But yeah, I wish there was a bit more depth into why he's being so crazy. I mean, other than one brief scene that he might have a domineering mother, like there's really no other backstory, whether him telling stories about his past or telling a story about, well, this thing happened to me one time or this thing happened to me one time, to really showcase much of more of who this character is. Like, it's very kind of bare bones on it. Maybe that was the purpose of it. But I just think that this is a decent movie that, with a few rewrites of the script to really stretch things out a bit, could have been a great movie. But at the end of the day, it's just a decent watch. Because of the two lead performers, because I like the whole idea of the plot of the film, the subject matter is an interesting, because like I said, that experiment back in the day is an interesting piece to read about. Things go apeshit and things get worse and worse. You know, they both, Adrien and Forrest Whitaker, fight more and more with each other. Adrian's going to be more of a rebel, take his shirt off when he's not supposed to, so the others take their shirt off because they're tired of this shit. Forrest Whitaker keeps saying, well, you know what, the light keeps not going on, so he must be doing something right. That's all we got here. I thought it was a good idea to not keep showing the doctors and, oh, man, they're doing a good job. But look what they're doing here. Because I've read some reviews saying that was a mistake. I disagree. I think centering just on these people stuck in there, they don't know what's going on in the outside world. They don't know what's happening. They don't know, and we don't know what the doctors and such are thinking. I think that was the right call, because it's focused straightly on these characters. Forrest is trying to beat up Adrien Brody, and the nerdy guy who's a diabetic Benji tries to help, but Forrest hits him. Now, I thought then and there Forrest Whitaker's character should have had much more of a visceral reaction to it, because that's later on when a riot happens. Forrest Whitaker's trying to fight Adrien Brody with a knife, and Adrien Brody grabs it, and Forrest looks, and he freaks out. But why does he freak out about that? But when he hit a guy in the head, who's bleeding on the ground with his nightstick, not moving, it's less of a freak out. So that's what I mean, it's not as consistent as it should have been. And I know I'm not selling the film, I guess, for a reason. Because, like I said, it was interesting. The performances carried it through. It made me feel bad for Adrien Brody's character. It made me hate Forrest Whitaker's character. And I thought he had a good lead and good bad guy as I viewed him. That definitely helps in a viewing experience for me. It's just there's aspects I kind of wish they would have built on. Again, the guard that used to be with them thrust to the prison population. I wish there's much more either tension or Adrien Brody sticking up for him. Hey, listen, this guy helped me get this guy diabetic, his needle, or at least try to. And like I said, there's a lot that could have been added into this. And then the end of the film, spoilers, Benji's character has died of his wounds. Adrien Brody's gotten out of this, what was he put into, a boiler. Helps this guy who's ready to get raped by Gigandet's guard character. I bought Adrien Brody being pissed off and angry, as well as others, and Clifton Collins Jr. finally, because he was Clifton's character was Aryan Brotherhood. He used to be a prisoner in another, but he lied so he could get some money. But now at first he's like, listen, just go along with this so we can get paid. Now he ain't having it anymore. I liked his line when, I forget what the line was, but I liked his delivery of it. It's like, shit's on now. And they're trying to break down the doors and overrun the guards, and they're all beating each other up. And then the red light comes on, the doors open, the experiment's over, they're let go, and I thought Forrest Whitaker got off too easily. Not the got off that we liked, but I mean, just they all stop, they all get on the bus. Forrest Whitaker's like looking down, looks at Adrien Brody, looks down again. I'm like, dude, you just hit someone in the head and killed him. You did that. You caused all this ruckus. You caused all this trouble. You did. The fact that these guys should be coming on and beating the shit out of you in the bus, Forrest Whitaker. So I felt this should have been much more of a comeuppance, much more of a, this guy needs to pay his dues, and didn't really get that. Because the guy was wrong in every single level. So the fact that he kind of gets away with it, and without really any repercussions, I thought was really, number one, false. Because I think there'd still be people pissed and angry at him, because it is mostly Forrest Whitaker's fault. That's number one. There's no reason to feel sympathy for the character. The movie never does a job sympathizing Forrest Whitaker's character, because we barely know much of his backstory and other stuff. So even the ending, I'm like, that's what I mean. Like, it's a decent film, decent film, that with some rewrites and maybe a better director, because I don't know who directed this actually. Maybe if I look it up, which will take a few minutes. I don't know who directed this, but I will say it's a film that could have been better. That's kind of the shame of it all. I didn't hate the film. It was definitely worth a watch. The acting and the idea is pretty good. It's not boring at all, at least to me, so that's another plus. Granted, if I want to watch a prison movie, I'll watch Shawshank Redemption or Death Warrant or... Now, I don't know if these issues are... I don't know if they're prevalent or not prevalent in the original foreign film. I don't know. I want to look up The Experiment 2010. Do that with the phone. No, don't do that. Damn it. Let me see. 6.4, I mean, that's a little bit higher than I would give it. Like I said, I don't think it's bad. I think these actors do a good enough job, but um, Paul T. Scheuring. He wrote A Man Apart with Vin Diesel. He helped create Prison Break. And he wrote Den of Thieves. Well, well, if he wrote, I mean, he should know better then, so I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what happened. Like, he should know better then, so what the hell happened? I don't know. But yeah, that's just me. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But with that said, I don't know what I'm kind of pontificating. What else I could say about it? Decent film that could have been better if you were given a bit more. If the film had a little bit more room to breathe with some of the aspects I mentioned, I think it could have gone from a decent film to a really damn good film. So I do think there's some potential missed in that, but that's just me. But it's not bad at all. I still glad that I saw it, but it is what it is. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later.